One man is on everybody's mind in world football at the moment, and his name is Rayan Cherki. The French prince, the Algerian king. I cannot believe that City signed this guy for £30 million from Lyon. That is just ridiculous. Lyon need to be on the phone to the police because that is absolute daylight robbery. The talent this guy has is absolutely unreal. Like the flicks, the tricks, the pass, the vision, the eye for goal, it's all there. Rayan Cherki is the full package. In this video, I'm going to be analysing Rayan Cherki's ceiling to see what he could be capable of at Manchester City. Let's start from the beginning with Rayan Cherki at Manchester City. He comes in from Lyon with a small price tag. City's main target in the summer was Wirtz, and we ended up with Rayan Cherki. Most people knew what this guy's talent was and knew his ability, but we didn't know if this could be transferred from Ligue 1 to the Premier League. Lots of players come from the Ligue 1 or the Bundesliga, where it's not as physical, it's much slower of a league, there's less caliber of teams, like lower quality, and they don't translate to the Premier League. The Premier League's fast, it's tough, it's physical, it's mentally draining, it's physically draining, and a lot of players can't make that transition. So Cherki comes in for Manchester City and he starts on the bench in the first game. He comes on, I think he gets a goal and an assist against Wolves. Now straight away everyone's thinking, well, this guy might be the business, and then he gets an injury. Since Rayan Cherki's come back from that injury, he has taken the Premier League by storm. In fact, this guy's taken the world by storm. Would it be crazy to say that Rayan Cherki's the best player in the world right now? Because I don't think it is. I am absolutely in awe by this guy. Every time he gets the ball, I'm on my edge of my seat thinking, what is this guy going to do? What flick and trick is he going to pull out the bag? A Rabona here, a little dink over the top there. Like I said before, he is the full package for Manchester City, and he is exactly what we've needed. Also, I said before that Wirtz was one of our main targets in the summer, and we didn't get him. He chose Liverpool instead. I am so happy that we didn't sign Florian Wirtz. The amount of money that Liverpool bought Florian Wirtz in for, only for him to absolutely flop. Let's face it, he's absolutely flopped at the beginning of this season. But Rayan Cherki, on the other hand, he's got the Brazilian flair of Ronaldinho. He's got the ball control of Riyad Mahrez. He's got the vision of Kevin De Bruyne. He's got the close control of David Silva. And he's got the eye for goal of Carlos Tevez. That is a complete footballer if I've ever seen one. I mean, he's Algerian and French, for God's sake. What would you have expected? He also needs to do a DNA test because there's definitely some Brazilian in there. But anyway, I wanted to compare him to a few City players that we've seen over the years that I think he might be comparable to by the end of his career. So first of all, I think Cherki has much more talent than this guy, but number one, Bernardo Silva. The big challenge that Cherki would face to overtake Bernardo Silva in terms of legacy at Manchester City is longevity. Bernardo Silva, I'm pretty sure, has the most appearances under Pep Guardiola of any player, and he has been absolutely relentless ever since he signed for City. His legs have not stopped running and running and running for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City ever since he signed. He's also similar in his footwork and his close control, as we saw at the City ground on the weekend against Nottingham Forest. He got out of one tight space where there was about 3 or 4 Nottingham Forest players around him, and everyone was thinking he's run up his own arse here and he's going to lose the ball. Lo and behold, he comes out on top with the ball, running free. That's the kind of thing we were used to seeing with Bernardo Silva when he was in his prime. There's one match against Liverpool that sticks in my memory where he was running with the ball and then Van Dijk ended up on his arse and you just couldn't get the ball off him. Cherki has that ability in abundance, as well as the tricks, the flicks and the eye for goal that Bernardo Silva potentially doesn't have as much. But if Rayan Cherki can carry on this form and stay at City for a very long time and keep a good relationship with the manager, I have no doubt that this guy would surpass Bernardo Silva in terms of legacy at the club. That is a bold statement to make with everything Bernardo Silva's done at the club, but it shows how good Cherki is. Like, his ability is ridiculous and he's still so young. Another player that Rayan Cherki reminds me of is Riyad Mahrez, and not only because of the Algerian connection there. Rayan Cherki's ability to manipulate the ball to go wherever he wants is very similar to Riyad Mahrez's. His foot's like a magnet, the ball just sticks to it. His first touch is incredible, much like Riyad Mahrez. And not only that, but he has the swagger and arrogance that Riyad Mahrez had on that right wing. Mahrez would roam about like the pitch was his playground and looked absolutely unfazed at any opposition that he faced. And that is the same for Rayan Cherki. Again, Riyad Mahrez is one of the best wingers we've ever seen in the Premier League, but I think Rayan Cherki has the ability to be up there with the likes of Riyad Mahrez. Another player that I want to compare him to is David Silva. We're getting to the big boys right now. This is statue outside the Etihad level. David Silva was absolutely unreal. There is no denying that. There's no going about it. He's one of the best players I have ever seen. One of the best footballers I have ever seen. Again, similar to Bernardo Silva, he's a very similar mould of player. But David Silva came into the Premier League and he revolutionised football in England. Never really in the Premier League have we seen a player that was so small but could dictate the game and the tempo like David Silva could. Everything ran through David Silva. He pulled the strings for Man City for years and years and years. And if you look at Rayan Cherki, he's pulling the strings for Manchester City at the moment. Everything is going through this guy. Not only that, but again, like we mentioned with Bernardo Silva, his ability to manoeuvre out of tight spaces. The extra thing that I think Rayan Cherki has that Bernardo Silva and David Silva don't is the eye for goal that I mentioned before. There's no denying that Cherki can score a goal, and it's happening frequently at the moment. Bernardo Silva and David Silva obviously did score a lot of goals, but the way Cherki does it is so natural, and you can see that he has something about him that's different. It's like a striker's kind of instinct. So it's crazy to say it, but I do think Rayan Cherki might have more to his game than David Silva. That's not to say that he's going to perform consistently like David Silva did, because David Silva was one of the most consistent players I've ever seen. And like Bernardo Silva did, he did it for years and years and years. Even when he was a lot older, David Silva was still one of the main men for Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola was still starting him as much as he could. If I told Rayan Cherki right now that you would have a similar career and a similar legacy to David Silva right now, I wonder if he would snap my hand off, or he wouldn't take that and he'd want to go for more. I really would love to ask that question to Rayan Cherki, because I think his self-confidence is so high that he would be aiming for much higher than that, which is crazy to say. But yeah, personally, I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he can get to that level and maintain it for such a long period of time, but he definitely has the ability to do so. Now, the last person I want to bring up in this conversation is Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is up there with the best midfielders of all time, let alone in the Premier League. Let me know in the comments right now if I'm gassing Cherki way too much, because I very well might be. These two players are very different, but I think what Cherki brings to Manchester City is very similar to what Kevin De Bruyne brought to City. As a young City fan, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the players that I've seen, start at Manchester City and leave as a legend. Like, I've seen that whole process, and I know just how good this guy is. I've seen him live in the flesh countless times, and I know the magic that Kevin De Bruyne holds as a football player. If I was ever at the Etihad, sat in the stands watching the game, and I was thinking, flipping heck, this game is getting dry, it looks like City can't unlock this defence, I knew that I could count on Kevin De Bruyne to pull a bit of magic out of his backside and get City a goal, or create City a goal. Kevin De Bruyne had this ability to find the pass that even people in the stands couldn't see. You have to remember that the way footballers see football on the pitch is very different to how we see it on the telly or in the stands, because we have a view of the whole pitch. Football players see it from, ground level. It's very different. And Kevin De Bruyne could pick out those passes that even, we couldn't see from the stands. And obviously De Bruyne's footballing IQ is far better than any fan watching football, but you know what I mean. But Cherki has the same ability to pull some magic out of nowhere and get City a goal in a tough game where we need to unlock a defence. His boot's like a flipping key, and the defence is the lock, and he just sticks the key in it, twists the flipping lock, and it's open. It's mad. But Cherki has a similar ability as well in terms of his vision. Like, he sees things very differently to a lot of other footballers, and you can tell that he's special for that. You could show someone who never watches football a Manchester City game at the moment, and they could point out to you that Rayan Cherki is the main man and that he's a special player. So my comparison to De Bruyne is that he has something that Man City fans can rely on to get a result or unlock a game. When it looks like City are going to get a draw or we're going to get beat, Rayan Cherki can unlock that defence and he can get us a goal. And more often than not, these kind of players are the needle movers in a title. In a scrappy game where it looks like we're going to draw to Forest, Rayan Cherki scores a volley and puts us 2-1 up late in the game. And that's the kind of quality that we would rely on from the likes of a Kevin De Bruyne. So do you see what I'm saying there when I'm comparing De Bruyne to Cherki? Obviously, I might get cooked for that one, but there is similarities there. There is, comparisons that can be drawn between the two. So if you've watched to the end of this video and you've seen all the comparisons that I've made, let me know in the comments what you agree and what you disagree with. Also, hit the like button and subscribe, because it helps me out more than you can imagine right now. I'm really trying to find my way in this football social media world. I'm trying to break into the whole YouTube game. And subscribing and hitting the like button and commenting would absolutely do me wonders. So please do that.